Welcome to the 2023 Oklahoma Teacher of the Year ceremony. Let's give a round of applause for Yukon High School Jazz Band for providing the wonderful music this morning. I am Becky Oglesby, the 2019 Oklahoma Teacher of the Year. At this time, I ask that you please stand and join me in welcoming U.S. Grant High School Marine Corps JROTC Color Guard for presentation of the colors, along with Yukon High School's Kola Voci, who will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem.
Color guard. Halt. Left. Face. Present. Colors.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose
Thank you again to all the talented students for helping in today's ceremony. That's amazing. And I can't forget to mention Moore Public Schools, who has 2 students providing their talents in photography to capture all the wonderful moments that we have today. Thank you, T.L. Haddon and Delaney Copps. Now, let's get started. It's my honor to introduce the 2023 Teacher of the Year finalists in alphabetical order. First, we have Kelsey Arnold, Spring Creek Elementary, Broken Arrow Public Schools. Next, we have Marcy Boudreaux Johnson from Prairie Vale Elementary School, Deer Creek Public Schools. Next, we have Emily Boyette, Frontier Elementary School, Edmond Public Schools. Rob Bradshaw, Longfellow Middle School from Norman Public Schools. Julie Cryer, Jinx Middle School from Jinx Public Schools. Tracy Manuel, Booker T. Washington High School, Tulsa Public Schools. Next, we have Rexanne McCrary, Union High School, Union Public Schools. Next, Tennille Mell, Pioneer Elementary School, Noble Public Schools. Julie Osborne, Lincoln Elementary School, Pryor Public Schools. William Pieper, Cushing High School, Cushing Public Schools. Stephen Smith from Life Ready Center, Lawton Public Schools. Alana Whitebird, Southmore High School, Moore Public Schools. You guys can have a seat. In just a minute, we'll hear from each one of these incredible teachers. But right now, it is my honor to introduce Glenn Cheney, Grand Master of Masons, representing the Masonic Charity Foundation of Oklahoma. The Masonic Charity Foundation is one of the most generous donors to the Teacher of the Year program and all-around supporter of education in our state. We are so thankful they have provided us with this facility and gifts for our finalists and the Teacher of the Year. Thank you, Glenn, for your generosity and support of the Teacher of the Year program.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. It's quite an honor to be here with you on behalf of the Masonic Charity Foundation, and we're just so excited that we've supported this program for nearly a quarter of a century, and we look forward to doing that going forward many, many, many years. Now, I'm just honored to be in a room full of teachers and educators. My family is full of them. My mother was a teacher. My father became a teacher after his stint in the Navy after 30 years. My sister grew up, went to school, and became a teacher, still teaches in California. And just so every facet of my family, it seems it involves a teacher. Well, I joined the Army, and then I became sort of a teacher of young men and women in the Army. And so that quality and that ability to teach young people and to mentor their minds is just an incredible trait that I just acknowledge in each and every one of you. Quick story, my first experience with teachers, of course, was my mother. And she taught kindergarten at the time when I realized what she did. Grew up in California, and I used to have fun in school. I wasn't exactly a student that you would love to have, I'll be honest. I used to cut up a little bit. I had more fun with substitute teachers until one day we did have a substitute teacher, and guess who it was? My mother. And, you know, being myself, cutting up, thinking I could get away with a little more, I think I'm the first student in that school's history to get grounded while in a classroom. It happened. I was like, you can't ground me, you're the teacher. She said, I just did, it's 2 weeks. Deal with it. But it is an honor to be here on behalf of the Masonic Charity Foundation and to be with you here today. I look forward to acknowledging all of you and to see the eventual winner of this great acknowledgement, and just congratulations to each and every one of you for being acknowledged and being recommended to be in this place today. And I look forward to maybe speaking with some of you after this. And thank you so much for having us here today. Before we continue, I think we want all of you to have a closer look to the amazing work that these teachers are doing, the finalists do in their classrooms each and every day. So please enjoy this video and let's see the amazing work that you do.
W wagon. I knew immediately, this is what I want to do. I want to spend the rest of my life working with kids and watching them master skills. And I see a former student, and they look at me and they're like, you were the teacher who helped us with our alphabet, or you helped me to learn my sight words or to read. It's really neat to see how that child came along with early intervention.
Every single child is capable of learning. Every child is capable of meeting their potential, but they need us to help them do that. You are so smart. No matter what their baggage is that they're carrying, it doesn't matter. When they come through the doors, they're ours. And I want us to take ownership of that.
That looks really good. You're doing a great job. Some of these children come into the school trying not to be noticed, and I started making eye contact and talking to each one of these kids. I see you, I know you, I love you, I'm glad you're here. It showed me just how important my attitude and my personality is, and there's nothing more important than those kids.
I love it. The reason I wanted to be a teacher is mostly because I felt safe and loved in school. I had so many teachers who supported me, and I realized teaching is just about multiplying that love and compassion that you have and making other people feel seen.
Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? I'm big on classroom culture, and I like students to feel comfortable with one another, to feel comfortable with me, to be safe in this environment. As a teacher, I think we can really make a difference. And my goal is to make a difference every day.
Oh, that would be perfect. I just know in my life, I had some teachers that just changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I think the right teachers with the right learners, it can totally change someone's life.
One thing that I tell my fellow educators is to be a hero for somebody in a classroom. My ultimate goal as a teacher is that at the end of their time with me, that they don't need me as much anymore. I give them the tools, I teach them the skills so that they become their own best teacher.
I wanted a way for my students to be able to get outside of the box of just what we have in our classroom. And so we play them in front of grocery stores and we take tips. We use that money to actually pay for a meal for 350 of Tulsa's homeless. About a week later, when we saw a homeless man who was walking in the street, those students responded to him with empathy. And we began to talk about what can the community do to help them.
And it is 2 minutes, so let's jump in and go. I tell them, 1, you never get too old to learn. 2, there are adventures along the journey. And 3, we have to always find out, why did I go through that situation and what is the outcome? How will we use the tools that we have to be able to make ourselves the best that we can be?
My passion for them to succeed goes beyond this classroom.
Rexanne shows up to every event. She's there with her camera and she's got pictures of them and she's loud and proud.
It's wonderful to surround myself with what matters to me most, which are my students.
Girl, this is awesome. Good for you.
If they try their hardest, even if they fail, I'm right here. And so they can fail and I'll still pick them back up. And it gives them that safe space to be able to try a little harder because they know that somebody's a safe person who's going to be there for them.
Perfect. You guys are just amazing. I had a student that came in just struggling as a learner. And so one of the last days of school, he came in with a letter and he said over and over, I mean, it was just constant, you are like a mom to me. Knowing that I made him feel loved, that is really kind of the pivotal moment that I come back to on the hard days, and I just need a reminder of why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I love it.
And we don't want to leave out our 2022 Oklahoma Teacher of the Year, Rebecca Peterson, who couldn't be here with us today because she is currently in Washington, D.C. as a finalist for the 2023 National Teacher of the Year. Rebecca, we send you our well wishes. She left you, finalists, and all of us with an inspiring message. Take a look.
Hello, everyone. I am so disappointed that I can't be there with you in person to celebrate and honor these amazing 12 finalists. To the finalists, we are so proud of each and every one of you. I would like to leave you and the other educators in the room with my love letter to teachers. As I search for my message to you, Oklahoma's teachers, I wrestle for something profound, but nothing seems more fitting than those two simple words, thank you. They're the first two words my parents made sure I learned in the English language when we immigrated to America. Thank you. As a quiet young girl who spoke very little English, you taught me to read, phoneme by phoneme. Not once did you refer to me as a language learner. Instead, you told me I was linguistically gifted. I held tight to your words and wore them like a shield. When others laughed at my mispronounced syllables or made fun of my last name, I remembered your words. Your diversity makes you beautiful. And so those unkind actions of others didn't pierce as deeply as they could have. Your words, my shield. A few years later, you saw my love for patterns and relationships, and you said, Rebecca, mathematics is your superpower. This time, I took your words and wore them like a cape. The cape allowed me to soar high, so high that that rhetoric of math isn't for girls barely even hit my ears. Your words, my protective layer. Then, one day, a new melody emerged from you. I think you should be a teacher. These words were more like a song in my heart that rang true the moment you uttered them. You continued to sing its lyrics to me when my memory failed, when I didn't think I had what it took, when I felt too overwhelmed to continue. Collectively, you walked with me, reminding me that there is no such thing as someone else's child. So together, we worked to make sure all are welcome. Now, as one of you, I watch as you teach our students that math is not just about finding the right answer. It's about celebrating all the different ways we can solve a problem. I observe as you teach our students how to express their feelings with words instead of fists. I marvel as you teach history lessons on the repercussions of choosing fists over words. I lean in as you lead science experiments, invoking our students' innate spirit of inquiry. I stand witness as you guide them in the arts, inspiring awe and wonder in our next generation. What a gift you are to our state. Every day, you guide our students towards becoming the best version of themselves. You push them to ask more and more questions, illuminating that ever-important lesson. The future belongs to the curious. In return, you are remembered years, even decades down the road. Do you see it, teachers? The impact you hold is infinite. One little seed you plant, one sentence you whisper, can change a child's trajectory. And that child may just grow up to change more lives. Physicists have taught us that particles at the subatomic level move when they are seen. The mere act of bearing witness to them changes their trajectory. Poetry at its most basic level. When you see each child truly see her, you change her trajectory. Now, I know we don't always get it right. Sometimes our overburdened hearts make mistakes, but on our best days, we hold our students. On our best days, we believe viscerally in the equalizing power of public education to dismantle marginalization, eliminate systemic inequities, and end generational poverty. Teachers, you hold liberty, a kind of freedom not available to every child on this earth. And regardless of the governing structure, we know education equates with freedom. As an Iranian-American woman, I stand acutely aware that liberty for all is not a guarantee, but rather it is a product of a nation's people insisting that we belong to each other. Teachers, you are the ones carrying that banner. Thank you for carrying our mission that every single child is in, no matter the color of their skin, zip code, or gender, no matter their socioeconomic standing, religious affiliation, or immigration status. Our diversity makes us beautiful. All are in, all have a seat at the table, all voices get equal representation. That is the heartbeat of this country. And we as teachers safeguard that, because on our best days, we hold our students. And if we're lucky, we find they hold us too. At our best, we shine a light on our students' kindest, truest, most beautiful version of their lives. At their best, they reciprocate and reveal what science taught us long ago. Light can't be captured or contained. It must be reflected. Students, you are our joy. Thank you for teaching us what a privilege learning is and for trusting us to guide you. Teachers, my message to you has and always will be thank you. As a child, I learned from you, believed in you, and walked alongside you. I still do. I love who I am when I'm in the classroom, when I'm part of your collective. It is the honor of my lifetime to walk with you and to walk for you. As the words my heart carries are, I slutande kanske vi alla bara går hem till varandra. In the end, maybe we're all just walking each other home.
I think it makes it pretty evident why she's in Washington, D.C. right now. Now, we would like to turn our attention to you. If you're a family member of one of our finalists, please stand so that we can recognize you. Thank you. We also want to recognize the district superintendents and principals of our finalists. Would you please stand? And alongside them will all superintendents and principals representing a district. Could you please stand so that we can thank you as well? At this time, we will hear a brief personal message from 4 of our 12 finalists. First up, we have Kelsey Arnold, Marcy Boudreaux Johnson, Emily Boyette, and Rob Bradshaw.
Good morning. My name is Kelsey Arnold, and I teach for Broken Arrow Public Schools. To be standing here today amongst a compelling representation of the heart-driven, inspirational educators that serve within our state is an indescribable honor. As a third-generation educator, there has not been a day in my life that I have not wholeheartedly valued and admired the beauty that is this profession. Throughout my childhood, I witnessed firsthand the positive impact a teacher can make in the life of a child, as 2 of the most influential role models in my life, my mom and grandma, are educators. I watched them pour their hearts into serving students for years and witnessed the impact it made in so many lives, not only in those moments, but for years to come. I vividly remember countless encounters with some of their former students, the evident feelings of adoration their students felt for them, and the confessions of meaningful impact they made resonated with me. When I did not understand at that time, and would not come to understand until I became an educator myself, was that my mom and grandma embodied the best of this profession. They recognized the beauty in it, the soul within it, and the heart behind it. They understood that more so than teaching skills and content, our greatest contribution and a gift that we have been entrusted with is to ensure our students feel loved, valued, and respected. There is no denying that what we do each day is important. The skills and content we teach, the data we dissect to make informed decisions, the effortless way we effectively manage a classroom full of students. The list of roles and responsibilities that are filled within our role as educators is infinite. However, more important is how we make people, especially those we serve, feel, and the relationships we are intentional about creating and nurturing each day. Through my years as an educator, I have witnessed countless times the potential that is untapped when you pour into relationships. Relationships are powerful. Their impact is paramount and potential is limitless. They have a capability to foster a sense of belonging, cultivate a safe, supportive community, provide comfort in the darkest of battles, and evoke hope in the possibilities of the future. That is the beauty and complexity of relationships. Their reach is unending, and as educators, we have been entrusted with the privilege of making relationships our life's work. So as I stand here today speaking my heart's message and what I believe to be the power of our profession, I encourage you to remain steadfast in pouring your heart's energy and focus into nurturing healthy relationships with those you serve and those who serve alongside you. The relationships we nurture not only have the potential to support the success of today, but ultimately have the capability to reverberate through and positively impact our community, the people we serve, for years to come. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Marcy Boudreaux Johnson, and I am a reading interventionist in Deer Creek Public Schools. I am grateful for this incredible opportunity to learn and grow from this amazing group of educators. We are 12 teachers who represent the many teachers across Oklahoma who continually set our students and their education as our priority. For multiple reasons, the last few years have been challenging for teachers. With those challenges came great rewards. Today, we stand proudly as a sign that teachers will not give up. We will continue to answer to our calling. To this day, I remember the teachers who helped to make me feel comfortable and confident in my learning environment. I work hard to be that teacher for my students on our campus. The following quote struck me. Ask yourself one simple question every way on your way to school. Would you want to be a student in your class? I can without a doubt say that if you asked a student in any of these teachers' classes, do you feel welcomed, safe, and supported in your learning? The answer would no doubt be yes. Outstanding teachers meet students where they are, not only academically, but emotionally, and guide them to academic achievements within the classroom. We are outstanding teachers. I will forever be grateful to have been in this group of 12 distinguished teachers.
Good morning. My name is Emily Boyette, and I am a proud Edmond Public School speech-language pathologist. If you are in attendance today, you are in some way linked to an educator and are very, very well aware of how much heart they pour into their students. To those educators, I want to say, I see you. To those who arrive early, stay late, sometimes both. To those who hold the record for shortest time to take to eat your lunch, longest time between bathroom breaks. To those who use your own money to buy crayons or Kleenex or paper, I see you. I see those teachers who lie in bed at night pondering, could I have done things differently? Have I done enough? To those of you who are reading everything you can just to figure out how to help that one child read anything at all. I see you, those teachers who are sneaking food into a child's backpack because they're not sure if that child gets to eat at home. I see you. I stand with those of you who foster a climate of acceptance and inclusion, no matter a child's religion, race, disability, background. To those of you who hug that student extra tight, because that may be the only kind touch they receive that day. And to the educators who love the kids who are sometimes the hardest to love, I see you. Oklahoma teachers, I am in awe of your resilience, your tenacity. Continue to innovate and inspire. Look for the good in your students, in yourselves, and in each other. Let it resonate that you are exactly where you are meant to be. I am humbled to be one of you, and today I thank you and I see you.
Good morning. My name is Rob Bradshaw, and I'm the orchestra teacher at Longfellow Middle School for Norman Public Schools. I am so deeply honored to stand here before you today. While I stand here, I am not alone, nor are you. I carry with me every teacher who chose to invest in me throughout my public school education. Their wisdom, their encouragement, their expectations, and their belief in the abilities and the possibilities of each of their students inspired me then and still inspires me today. Each of you have teachers that chose to invest in you too. That's what teachers do. They inspire, they challenge, they create, and they illuminate the path forward. I hope that my students will one day say that they carry me with them. Being a teacher is one of the most challenging and also one of the most rewarding careers. We watch as students take their first steps into a wider world of possibilities. We light the spark of inspiration in our students, challenging them to dream of their future selves. Classrooms across this state are filled with teachers lighting the spark for each of their students every day. Classrooms are laboratories for experimentation with new concepts, new ideas and perspectives, and new dreams. If you teach, you know the feeling of joy when you watch a student suddenly do something that moments earlier they believed was impossible. Students, I want you to know that the pride we feel for you in that moment never fades. For my own students in Norman, know that I am proud of you. I will always be proud of you. In your toughest moments, when everything feels too hard, know that I am proud of you. When I was a child, I learned that there are white-collar professions like doctor, lawyer, business person, and there are blue-collar professions like mechanic, construction worker, and electrician. My mom, a teacher herself, taught me that there's a third kind, the gold-collar profession, and it only has one career, teacher, because we make all the other professions possible. Teaching creates generational change. What we do today impacts tomorrow and improves communities and our society. As proof of that, what my mother taught me, she learned from a teacher. I now share it with you and challenge you to share it with others. I leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Mr. Fred Rogers. Anyone who does anything to help a child is a hero to me. I am surrounded by heroes on this stage, in this room, and in classrooms and schools across this state. May we always work to be heroes for the children we see each and every day. Thank you.
And that right there is why this is one of the best events of the entire year. I am a first grade teacher at Ranchwood Elementary School for Yukon Public Schools. And I by no means want to diminish the complexity of what it takes to be an excellent educator. The list of attributes and quality of a great teacher is exhaustive and ever expanding. Take on new roles all the time. But if I had to narrow it down, if you said, what makes an excellent educator? I would tell you two things. I would tell you it is our belief in kids and our belief in our calling. Our kids. Our kids may make us want to pull our hair out, but they are also the reason that we show up. They are our hope and our future. And when they come into our classroom, we see them not as they walk in, but for the God-given potential locked up inside of them. A teacher that centers their work around doing right by kids will always be successful. And the second thing is, an excellent educator believes that this is more than a career, it's a calling. It's what we were meant to do. And when well-meaning people say, there's so many other things you could be doing, why don't you just leave education? There is something fierce inside of you that whispers, never. This is my purpose, and this is my calling. If you look around this room today, it is packed with people who hold to the truth that this work is about a belief in kids and a belief in a calling. This morning, we are honored to have several past Oklahoma State Teachers of the Year with us today, and a few who have joined us virtually. These professionals have exemplified the highest standards of the teaching vocation and deserve the highest recognition for their service. It's because of your dedication to the students of Oklahoma and the Teacher of the Year program that we are here today to celebrate teachers. When I call your name, will you please stand so that we can thank you? And let's hold our applause until I've called all the names, please. The 2021 Teacher of the Year, Jessica Eschbach. 2020 Oklahoma Teacher of the Year, Gina Nelson. 2018, Donna Grottle. 2017, John Hazel. 2013, Elaine Hutchinson. 2009, Heather Sparks. 2008, Stephanie Canada Phillips. 1999, Lynn Peacher. 1998, Kay Long. 1996, Stephen Smallwood. 1995, Linda K. Webb. 1990, Eugene Earsom. 1982, Kathleen Reynolds. 1980, Sherry Morgan. Thank you. Now we will hear from our next four finalists, Julie Cryer, Tracy Manuel, Rexanne McCrary, and Tennille Mell.
Hello, my name is Julie Cryer, and I teach band at Jenks Middle School. And today I stand here extraordinarily proud to be a public school educator in Oklahoma. As a band director, I have the fortunate opportunity of having a district job. I get to work with students when they're first entering our band program and work with the same students for the next 6 years as they grow in their musical ability, their emotional health, and their maturity. Middle school is a challenging time for everyone. I will never forget when my principal, Nick Brown, stated in our beginning of the year meeting, soon we will be inviting 2,000 of Jenks' best and brightest into our hallways, and they are all going through puberty. And this may be a daunting task, but really all that 7th and 8th graders really want is just to be seen and to be heard. That's all they want. This is our challenge and joy as teachers, and we must be purposeful in creating relationships. When we find personal connection with our students, we will lose the hormonal eye rolls, and our students will buy in to the learning process with us. When we purposefully create connection with students, we will also encourage kids into the teacher pipeline. I became a teacher because my band teachers, Mr. Alsobrick, Mr. Lawless, and Mr. Pitts, all made an investment in me. Nearly all of my favorite memories from high school involve meaningful conversations with them. When students leave my classroom, I want them to have a lifelong love and appreciation for the arts. I want them to have the tools to express themselves in a healthy way. And when students walk out of our school system for the last time, I want them to know that the relationship wasn't one way. They have enriched my life tremendously, so much so that their departure is always bittersweet. Thank you.
A strong teacher, author, and orator by the name of Booker T. Washington once said, "Success is not determined by the position that one has reached in life, but by the obstacles one has overcome." On my road to becoming a teacher, I have taken the road that Booker T talked about and that Robert Frost talked about in his poem, Discuss the Road Not Taken. Unlike many of my great colleagues who have been in this Oklahoma Teacher of the Year process, who have become like my brothers and sisters, who majored in fields like elementary and secondary education with a particular emphasis. They are truly extraordinary in the profession, but I don't share the same path on my road to teaching. In fact, growing up, I was that child that took longer on any test taken. I was that child who had to go to a reading program for 2 days a week for years while my friends sat, played, and relaxed. I was that student that instead of eating lunch with my friends, I had to study in the library in high school. I was determined to overcome my obstacles. I began to overcome those obstacles and see the light at the end of the tunnel by the end of my senior year, where I gladly marched into the counselor's office ready to discuss my options. And unfortunately, she sat and told me, there are no options for you. There are no plans for you. And I'm sorry to tell you that. As you can imagine, I was broken, discouraged, and ready to throw in the towel as a young teen. However, a mentor teacher by the name of Mrs. Joe Bright, she told me, Tracy, you don't let any person, not one person, determine your future. In fact, you go back to the drawing board. You come up with a plan of action. You take ACT test prep classes. You don't stop there. You come here to our center at the North Tulsa Boys and Girls Club and volunteer with kids to let them know what they can be. I thought Miss Bright was crazy. I said, Mrs. Bright, it's the end. How can I move forward? She said, just like this, I will show you. No sympathy, but in fact, I will call you every day and tell you that you are to believe in the unbelievable. I began to think, and I looked at Miss Bright, and with her strong guidance, along with the support of my village, like my mother, my father, my grandmother, who would sit and make me read old English books or even watch every sports show only at the end to see the sports players come up, and she would make me correct every grammatical error that they had. Grandma was tough. But she, along with my church family and so many others, mentor teachers like Barbara Coleman, Loretta Coleman, Janice Bayouth, Ava Fisher, Bobby Booker, just to name a few. They told me, you can do this. Then I finally began to see at the end, college acceptances began to come in. I even got the chance to speak at the governor's mansion, and I don't say that to brag or boast, but I say that because someone told me what I could not achieve, like they do many of our urban and rural students, but they can and will achieve. Then I left Oklahoma and I went to college and majored in English literature. Afterwards, accepting a graduate assistantship at Eastern Michigan and studying the Achievement Gap. After studying the Achievement Gap, it was then that I wanted to go home because I found in the Achievement Gap that one of the lowest districts was my hometown in Tulsa. It began to break my heart because I saw those students in me. And I said, I have to go back home. I have to go back home and teach them to let them know they can do it. However, fear gripped me. It crippled me because I could still hear that counselor saying, you cannot achieve. There are no options for you. I knew something had to be done. Therefore, I leaned on my spiritual faith, and I began to see that I had to allow faith to move me beyond what my fear had held me down. I wanted to teach those students the skills to get them where they needed to be. And after deciding that I could return home, my road still wasn't the traditional teacher. Upon arriving back home, I accepted a long-term substitute position where I met the Michael students of the world, those students who were 3 and 4 grade levels behind in the 6th grade. Michael came to class every day smiling, "Miss Manuel, what we're gonna do today?" As I began to grow a relationship with Michael and his family outside of the classroom, then I could address the reading foundations that this student had been long needing. After moving from the substitute teacher position, I moved forward to a teacher assistantship where I met the Camerons of the world, those students who struggled socially because they were on the spectrum and it began impeding into their academic success. And along with Cameron and his village, we partnered together to say what he could and would do. And today, Cameron is a 3rd-year college student getting ready to become a music teacher of today. Then, that wasn't the last stop. I became a parent facilitator, and I work with parents who were of lower socioeconomic backgrounds. Those parents needed confidence and skills to begin to help their children overcome things that they did not overcome. And we worked together. And then finally, along the last stop of the way, I became a classroom English teacher where I began to do home visits and I began to work with children and build climate and culture within schools that had disciplinary issues. It wasn't an easy task, but it was one worth taking on this road. I went from there to our magnet schools and began teaching advanced classes, challenging those students and building programs that could help them. I tell you, being a classroom teacher, as you know, may not be the easiest, but it is worth it in the long run. This path for me has been all that has made the difference in my teaching career. I stand today full circle teaching at Booker T. Washington, the place that at the end of the road told me what I could not do. I said to my students, and I say to them every day, we will have high expectations and we will achieve every goal that is set in front of them. I will accept nothing less of you. So I tell all educators today and tomorrow that we have to push our children. And I leave you with a piece of my high school hymn. You're a symbol of light for many a youth by pointing the way to life's best. It is important, and it is my job that I point students and unlock the bright potential that lies in all of them that many cannot see. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tracy Manuel, a sophomore advanced English teacher at the Booker T. Washington High School, and it has been my pleasure.
Hello, my name is Rexanne McCrary, and I teach English at Union Public Schools. You have cancer. 3 words that changed my life and impacted it more than words can express. And seriously, my first thought was, this cannot be happening. School starts in a few weeks. You see, I've invested 25 years into something that is part of who I am. It's my identity. No one else can do what I do. It doesn't come from a book. It doesn't come from the internet. What I do comes from 25 years of trial and error and creating lessons that help develop lifelong skills for my students. What I do comes from a passion that I want to treat my students the way I want my children to be treated, and my students are a reflection of who I am. All of us in this room, in this profession, know that students are our lifeline. Students are part of every decision that we make, the reason why many of us cannot sleep at night. My story is for others to understand that teachers will always advocate for our students because they are part of who we are and they deserve better. My story is for others to see what I see, which is the passion that my students have to succeed, which is why they deserve better. I appreciate this opportunity to have this journey, but I'm not alone because my students have brought me to this very moment. To truly understand cancer, one has to experience it because everybody is different. To truly understand teaching, one has to experience it as well because everyone is different. And that could not be more evident than today with these 11 other amazing teachers that are devoted, all invested in making education better. We teach different ages, different subjects, different students in different districts, but our one goal is to help those students. And with teaching, we survive, and we overcome ever-changing trends, standards, and biases to make sure that learning can happen for all students. So here is to the survivors who make that happen every day. Thank you, my family, my colleagues, my union family, but most of all, my students who helped me to survive and to always be better.
When you're gone, who remembers your name? Who keeps your flame? Who tells your story? Eliza questions in the Broadway musical, Hamilton. Good morning, my name is Tennille Mell. I am the school counselor for Pioneer Elementary, Noble Public Schools. We were asked to share our personal story with you all today, but I stand here not as a representative of my own story, but as an emblem of those who have contributed to the story of who I am. This is our story, a collection of stories that wouldn't exist without former educators who pushed me to be stronger than I thought I could be and stretched the boundaries of who I thought I was and who I would become. And my colleagues who have poured into my life, believed in me, and mentored me. My life is also a collection of narratives from students who have entrusted me with some of their most personal, private moments. My role as a school counselor is to provide a safe space for students to articulate the stories that comprise them. Stories they wouldn't share with anyone else. Stories they don't want to retell, but choose to do so bravely. Those stories are special to me, and I guard them very closely. I am privileged that I have the honor to represent 15 years worth of raw, precious narratives. I honor those students today as they are part of my story. Someday, one of your students may stand on this stage and honor you through their story as I have been able to do today for my former educators. Take pride in the fact that every day you are creating pathways. You are imagining what could be. You are pushing your students and imparting knowledge into them. You are playing an integral role in their narratives. Someday, when you're gone, they'll remember your name. They'll tell your story. Thank you to my administration, Mr. Solomon, Dr. Myers, Mr. Barefoot, for allowing me the opportunity to tell my story. Thank you to the Teacher of the Year Committee for pushing me to grow my story in ways I didn't know were possible. And to my fellow finalists, I've loved every minute of this journey with you all, and
I'm thankful you will forever be part of my story. And finally, thank you to my family and my friends. You allow me to live my most truest, authentic version of my life, and you still love me for it. I'll end with a quote. Story, as it turns out, is crucial to evolution, more so than opposable thumbs. Opposable thumbs let us hang on. Story, it tells us what to hang on to. Go Bears.
So good. The 2022 Julian Scholarship recipient. Since 1999, the Julian Scholarship has been selected and awarded by the Oklahoma State Fair Board of Directors to a high school senior in the district of the Oklahoma's current Teacher of the Year. It is named in honor of the late Edward C. Julian III, who for 11 years served with distinction as chair of the State Fair Board of Directors. The scholarship was established to support students with their post-secondary education, recognize the State Teacher of the Year school district, and celebrate the contributions of Mr. Julian to the lives of Oklahoma's young people. The 2022 Julian Scholarship recipient from Union High School is Kushi Parek. Kushi is currently attending the University of Missouri-Kansas City in the 6-year BA-MD program. She is studying liberal arts with a minor in chemistry while also working towards obtaining her medical degree. During her free time, she enjoys volunteering at free health clinics and hopes that in the future she will be able to give back to her community by returning to Oklahoma to pursue a career as a physician. It is now time to hear from the last 4 of our finalists, Julie Osborne, William Pieper, Stephen Smith, and Alana Whitebird.
Good morning. My name is Julie Osborne. I teach 2nd grade at Lincoln Elementary for Pryor Public Schools. And thinking about what I wanted to share with you this morning, I just kept feeling like I would be remiss if I didn't share something with you that had impacted my entire teaching career. So staying true to my teaching style, I'm going to just share a story with you this morning. This story is about my mother. Early on in my teaching career, I had taken a job at Hall Hospital Elementary in Veneta. My mother had just recently retired from there after 19 years. She had been battling cancer for a while. She had multiple myeloma and had gone through a stem cell transplant, but had just recently found out that the cancer was back and had come back with a vengeance. On this day, we were in the hospital in Tulsa. I was sitting there with her, and they had her in ICU where they were basically keeping her comfortable. While we were sitting there, I heard a knock at the door, and this was long before COVID, and when you could still have visitors even in ICU. So I walked over to the door, and there stands this big, tall, burly kid. I knew who he was. His name was Noah Franklin. He had gone to school in Veneta and was a big football player there and was currently playing at OSU, and he would even go on to become an NFL player as a free agent. But anyway, Noah's standing there, and I wasn't real sure why he was there, but he seemed to know why. Noah walked in, and he pulled up a chair, and he sat down next to my mom. So I walked around to the other side of the bed and sat there, and we exchanged a few words for a minute, and eventually I just picked up a book and started reading. Every once in a while, I'd kind of glance over, and at one point I noticed that Noah was sitting there holding my mom's hand. So I was thinking, wow, obviously they were closer than what I had remembered. So this went on for a little bit, and after about an hour, Noah stands up and he walks back over to the door, so I got up and went over to see him out. When he got to the door, Noah turned around to me and he looked at me and he said, Julie, he's like, when I was in 1st grade, I got in really, really big trouble and I got sent to the principal's office. He said, I was crying really, really hard and I was really scared. And he said, your mom walked over and she sat down and she pulled up a chair and she just held my hand. He said, I've heard about how sick your mom was and I've been just thinking she must be pretty scared. And he said, I just really felt like I needed to come and hold her hand. Noah turned around and he walked out the door, and when that door closed, I remember just standing there thinking, being in awe of the impact that my mother had had on that child. A few days after this, we brought my mom home on hospice, and she passed just shortly after. The morning of her service, it was pouring rain outside, and me and my family, we walked into a church that was just standing room only. When the service was over, we walked out to a sea of umbrellas of people that never even actually made it into the church. After We went to the graveside services. Well, we stood in line as person after person came up, sharing stories with us of things that my mom had done to impact them or their child's life while at Hostel. And we heard it one time that day. We heard it 1,000 times that how my mom was their favorite teacher. Once again, we were all just standing there in awe of the impact that my mom had had. Now, before I end this story, I'd like to share one more interesting fact about my mother. Her name was Nina York. She was born and raised in Veneta, graduated from high school there, and married my dad. They had me and my 2 sisters, and my mom would be a stay-at-home mom for years until my youngest sister was well into elementary school. She then went and got a job at Ha Hustle in the cafeteria, where she became lovingly known as the milk lady. She would hand out milk and clean the tables and do any odd jobs that needed done. She did this for a while, and eventually she would become a teaching assistant, and she ended her career as an aide in the office. So you see, my mom never actually taught a day in her life, or did she? Throughout my career, I've always hoped and prayed that someday that I could be half the teacher that my mother was. See, my mom was blessed with a teacher's heart. This is something that kids see and something they feel. Today, I have the honor of standing amongst some of the biggest teachers' hearts I've ever had the privilege of knowing. The amazing thing about today is that one of us is going to walk away Oklahoma Teacher of the Year and go out and touch so many lives. The even more amazing thing is that 11 others of us are going to go back into our classroom tomorrow and continue to touch so many lives. So you see, there's truly only winners here today. I'd like to thank you so much for your time and this wonderful privilege. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm William Keever from Cushing High School. I came into this profession 27 years ago from a long line of teachers who taught me the importance of curiosity, imagination, and a love of learning. I carry those lessons with me still today as I work constantly to help students engage with history and geography in meaningful ways. My teaching and coaching career began in 1996 in Waukomis, Oklahoma. That November 11th, on our first day of basketball practice, a young 16-year-old named Chris collapsed and died of a heart attack right there in front of us on our gym floor. This was a challenging moment for all of us, and for my 23-year-old self, who was just getting started in his career, navigating through that time taught me a number of life lessons. It instilled in me an urgency to not put off those things that need to be done, and a deeper appreciation for the time that we have and the opportunities that we're all given. These lessons have kept me going through my career and helped me remain grounded even today in times of adversity. Over the years, as I worked to become a better teacher, I sought out professional development experiences and teacher travel opportunities whenever I could. This transformed my career and my understanding of the world. By traveling and networking, I met people around the country and around the world who helped me grow as an individual and as an educator. And it became clear to me that people are just people, wherever you go. Mark Twain said that travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. Experiencing cultures and exploring countries has allowed me to see firsthand the power of relationships and to broaden my worldview, witnessing how we're all connected in a global community. The more we're willing to approach people who are different from us with curiosity, empathy, and understanding, the more we grow as people and appreciate our own roles in making this world a better place. Ted Lasso would say, be curious, not judgmental. And this couldn't be more appropriate today. It's not until we meet people at ground level that we fully understand just how much we have in common. And though I can't bring all of my students to the world, I work hard every day to bring the world to my students. In the classroom, I strive to help young people appreciate their value, have a voice, and develop a vision for who and what they can be, striving for lofty goals. Recently, a junior in one of my classes raised her hand to ask a question. She started by saying, you know, Mr. Keever, there's a lot of history, and I don't know much of it, but this is the first time I've ever wanted to know anything about it. This simple statement encapsulates my desire for young people to develop a love of learning and approach life with curiosity. I encourage students to think for themselves and make up their own minds. If they walk out of my class with the confidence to ask questions and to seek answers, then I feel like I've done my job. This selection process has been surreal and humbling. I'm grateful for the chance to get to know this amazing group of Oklahoma educators. A heartfelt thank you to my family for their continuing love and encouragement in so many ways. Thank you to my administration, who provide me the opportunity to chase my passions and live out my dream. Lastly, but just as importantly, I want to thank my students who continue each and every day to make this journey so rewarding. I learn from you, all of you, every day, and I'm thankful for the role that you play in my life. I wouldn't be here without you for sure. Remember, once a tiger, always a tiger. Thank you and God bless.
I don't know about you guys, but I am seeing the best part of all of my favorite teachers in the world represented up here on this stage. It makes me feel really proud. It makes me feel really good because I know our children are in really exceptional hands. Good morning. My name is Stephen Scott Smith, and I teach art at the Life Ready Center for Lawton Public Schools. I love art. Art helps me understand how I fit in this world. It helps me ponder the past. It helps me create in the present, and it helps me to dream for the future. You see, art starts from the heart. It starts with a big idea or a feeling. The brain assists in developing a plan for how to best express those feelings and ideas, and then the artwork takes a life of its own once it's complete. My students are my masterpieces. My school year, much like my artwork, starts with a menagerie of feelings and a big idea. I am always so excited to meet my students, but I still get nervous about meeting them. I worry, will I be able to remember their names quickly enough? Will I be able to reach through to them? But then, you know what? My brain kicks in. I remind myself that I know what I'm doing. I had the best teachers. They understood me, they taught me, and most importantly, they loved me. Honestly, I feel like they take over the moment I start teaching because all the nerves just melt away once I'm in front of those students. Teaching is much like composing a painting or throwing fresh clay on the wheel. It feels like anything is possible. With art, there's thoughtful planning, lots of hard work, and eventually the actualization of a new creation. This could be said about Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night or Da Vinci's Mona Lisa, and especially my students. They are my inspiration. I pass on what I have learned to them to help spark their curiosity to learn. Once my time with them is complete, just like a work of art, they go out into the world with their own story to share and to make the world a much more beautiful place to live. It's for them that I am here. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to be here. Thank you, my family, who have supported the life of a crazy artist. If you know an artist or have one in your family, you know what that's like. And thank you to my district, my beautiful village, for taking good care of me and helping me to grow into the person I am today. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. My name is Alana Whitebird, and I'm so honored to be here representing educators, students, and more public schools as a finalist for Oklahoma Teacher of the Year. It has been so humbling to be able to meet with and get to know these other 11 esteemed teachers who surely represent the best of Oklahoma education. I agree that I see a little bit of all of my favorite teachers in you, and you've made this process much less nerve-wracking, so thank you for that. The best moments of my life have been in the hallways of public schools, which is a big statement. I feel like many people wouldn't agree, but I've had friendships formed, thought-provoking lessons, both learned and taught, secrets shared, aha moments, and so many other beautiful facets of life. This is why I never even considered any other career path than education. I came into the doors of Southmore High School hopeful with the idea that I would be continuing that loving, safe space in public schools that was cultivated for me. In making myself a readily available resource for my students, I soon found out that my experience of love and safety was not a shared one. In fact, my first year teaching, I had a group of students come to me with an idea to start an organization called Race, Religion, and Rights, which is now the Social Justice and Equity Committee, to amplify these experiences. Many of my students from diverse backgrounds felt uncomfortable in the same environment that allowed me to thrive. This issue allowed me to find my teacher voice, to stand up for my students who may not feel like they are heard. By investing in my students' stories, I was in turn investing in myself. I listened to my students who have experienced harm because of their identity and made sure to amplify these concerns in order to change their experience in public schools. This could not have happened without my students, both former and current, who have trusted me to be their safe person, who have given me a reason to be here today. They are my why for being in public education. Thank you.
And now you understand why they didn't give us a handheld mic, because of all the mic drop. All right, at this moment, I would like to pause and introduce the Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Ryan Walters.
Thank you all so much for being here today. It is an honor to recognize all the district and school site teachers of the year who were nominated for this year's state level award. These nominees were selected in 2022 by their peers as their school's teacher of the year, and then went on to become the teacher of the year to represent their entire districts. It's a tremendous honor that speaks to their talents, their professionalism, and the respect that they've earned from their colleagues. Here to help us honor these outstanding teachers are the Masonic Charity Foundation of Oklahoma, presented by Glenn Cheney, the Grand Master. We also have the Professional Oklahoma Educators, presented by President Tim Whaley and Vice President Tony Hutchison. So now I think we're going to bring them all up to the stage, correct? All right, let's make sure that's what we're doing here. So we're bringing them on up. So we have both Tim. Where's Tim at? We've got Tim and we've got Glenn. I will pass it off to Eric Jones. We'll bring them up here shortly.
Crystal McSpadden.
We're going to go ahead and we're recognizing, these are the district teachers of the year. They're not a finalist, but they were their district's teacher of the year. So they're going to call their name, and then Superintendent Walters, if you'll shake their hand and take
Tashina Vest. Marilyn James. Shelley Lamans. Jane Cameron. Kimberly Bands. Sue Whipple. Brittany Clark. Christine Harris. Tanya Nollmeyer. Christy Jo Robertson. Grace McIndorfer. Jennifer Hooten. Trinity Wygant. Sharita Brown. Jennifer Schuler. Katie Messerly. Lula Moore Wilson. Congratulations again to all the local Teachers of the Year nominations.
Our many sponsors add so much to this special day, recognizing educators and doing what we all should do, showering them with gifts. This event truly would not be possible without their support and generosity. Finalists, if you'll stand so that when they come by, they can shake your hand. First, we have the Masonic Charity Foundation of Oklahoma, presented by Glenn Cheney, our Grand Master. Oklahoma Education Association, presented by President Catherine Bishop. I'm not sure if Professional Educator, Oklahoma Educators, presented by President Tim Whaley and Tony Hutchins, the Vice President. American Fidelity Assurance Company, presented by Jessica Jones. Oklahoma City Zoo, presented by Candace Reynolds. Northeastern State University, presented by Vanessa Anton. Oklahoma State University, presented by Dr. Shelby Whitty. And now to present our finalists one last time. Kelsey Arnold. Marcy Boudreaux Johnson. Emily Boyette. Rob Bradshaw. Julie Cryer. Tracy Manuel. Rexanne McCrary. Tennille Mell. Julie Osborne. William Pieper. Stephen Smith. And Alana Whitebird. Finalists, you may have a seat. This year, our 16 regional judges and 11 state selection committee judges had an extremely difficult task choosing just one of these remarkably talented educators to be the 2023 Teacher of the Year. All of our judges who are here today, could you please stand so that we can recognize you? We thank you for your time and your help in making what I know was a very tough decision. Any one of these finalists would be worthy of the honor, but now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The envelope, please.
We will need the envelope from the back. I'd say. All right. That was all just for theatrics to build to this moment, okay? So, without further ado, your 2023 Oklahoma Teacher of the Year is, drumroll please, Tracy Manuel from Booker T, Washington.
And Principal Booker T. Washington, Melissa Woolridge, for joining us here today. Would you please come to the stage to take a picture? Come on, come on. And now, Tracy, we would love to hear a few words from you. Wouldn't we? Wouldn't we? Yeah.
Success. I'm in tears, and I know that I have no success without my successor. So to my former students from KIPP, from Central, from Carver, and at the Booker T. Washington, I want us as Oklahomans to push our students into excellency. Preparing them, making sure that we can move from the bottom of the list to being number one when it comes to United States education. I want us to utilize the experts that exist in our classrooms that I stood with on this stage and that are there in the audience. I want us to strategically plan to make sure that we are making sure students can go into the colleges and careers of their choices, and never having a student, once again, like myself, feeling like they cannot achieve for what one person has said. And H, to help to eradicate the equity and equality issues that continue to build the achievement gap in our country. We as Oklahoma, we can push into excellency, and we are excellency. I want to thank those who are here with me in my village. My mentor teacher, Miss Mary Howe, my aunt, Miss Sandra McClellan, my aunt, Miss Rosalind Davis, my aunt who drove me to school at the age of 3, 4, and 5, Miss Betty Parker, who said, "You've got to stop running your mouth. You drain me every day I go into the classroom." My principal, Dr. Melissa Woolridge, who encouraged me to keep going. And my superintendent, Dr. Deborah Giss, who is here with me on today, who has been nothing but supportive throughout the entire process. And my mother, who spent so many crying nights and a lot of dollars to make sure that I was here, my husband and my children in their absence. Every day I get home, I go home to another child who many of my colleagues on the side can reckon with, who is special needs, who has been faced with so many bullying, who had to move this year in 5th grade, and every day is a challenge. But I told him, you can and will achieve, and we're going to ensure that even though you're on the spectrum, you will live like the life of Grant Bland, who was a former Edison High School student, a life with no limits. We have to, thank you, begin to ensure that all students live that life with no limits so that we can make sure that we're not just a success, but we have no success without successors. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
All right, so here to present gifts to the Oklahoma's 2023 Teacher of the Year are our generous sponsors. Are you ready, sponsors? We're going to start with MTM Recognition, presented by Mike Ketcherside. National State Teachers of the Year Oklahoma Chapter, presented by Heather Sparks, the 2009 Oklahoma Teacher of the Year. The American Fidelity Assurance Company, presented by Jessica Jones. Oklahoma City Zoo, presented by Candace Reynolds. The University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma, which they're unable to be with us today. Northeastern State University, presented by Vanessa Anton. University of Central Oklahoma, presented by Dr. Brian Duke. Oklahoma State University, presented by Dr. Shelby Whitty. The University of Oklahoma, presented by Dr. Stacy Reeder. Professional Oklahoma Educators, presented by Tim Whaley. Oklahoma Education Association, presented by Catherine Bishop. Fowler Holding Company, presented by Chris Powers, Fowler Honda of Norman. The Masonic Charity Foundation of Oklahoma, presented by Glenn Cheney, the Grand Master. We are so thankful for all of our many sponsors. Let's give them a big hand. And Superintendent Walters, if you'd give some closing remarks.
Congratulations, Tracy. I know you will be a wonderful role model for our teachers. We look forward to working with you. Today's ceremony would not be possible without the generous support of several florists, Ozarka Water Company, the Masonic Charity Foundation of Oklahoma, and Calvert's Plant Interiors. We appreciate all that you do to celebrate and honor our teachers. This truly is an event that honors our best and brightest teachers. As I continue to go around the state and talk to parents and talk to community leaders, the message has been clear. They want the highest quality teachers in the classroom. We want to retain, attract high quality individuals. I'm so excited about Tracy as she gets to be an ambassador for our great teachers across the state. And we will continue to pursue ways to empower and encourage our teachers around the state of Oklahoma. And guys, with that, it's a wrap. Thank you all very much for being here today, and congratulations again, Tracy.